Hey guys, welcome to our very empty library. It's even kind of echoing in here without all the books. But today I'm going to talk to you about some recent reads. Technically I have 6, but I'm only going to do 5 because the 6th one I just finished last night and it's for a different video series that I'm going to be doing for the summer. So I'm going to save all those books for that video series for a totally different video, obviously. So I'm just going to tell you today about 5 books and also 3 DNFs that I had just in the last little while, like kind of springtime-esque. The first one was A Dangerous Collaboration, which is the 4th, I think, yes, 4th book in the Veronica Speedwell series by Deanna Raybourn. I've given pretty much every book 4 stars. This one was no exception. I think book 3 I gave like 3 or 3.5 stars. Yeah, it was my least favorite, but books 1, 2, and 4 I've given 4 stars. I very much like it. I'm enjoying the very, very, very slow burn romance that's taken like 4 books to get to where we are now, and they're still not even really like together. But I mean, it's clear they're going to be. The next book I read is Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. This is a young adult, like pirate fantasy adventure kind of novel. I wound up giving this one 3.5 stars because honestly, the first maybe 2/3 of the book was actually really good. It's very much like if you were in the head of a character just like Jack Sparrow, and you know, when you're watching Pirates of the Caribbean, you don't really quite know Jack Sparrow's motivations because they do kind of seem a little bit morally gray. But then this book, you actually are in her head and she is just like Jack Sparrow. And so it's like, what would happen if you got to see that character's motivations? But the last about approximately 3rd or 4th of the book, there's something ridiculous that happens in the plot that I just really did not enjoy. There's definitely a romance element too, but that one was not the reason why I didn't like it. It was more just that ending. I just didn't care about what was actually happening in the plot. It was very, very bizarre. Okay, book 3 that I read this month was How to Break Up with Your Phone, a 30-day guide. There's some sort of subtitle about it being a 30-day practical guide to breaking up with your phone. It was very short. The audiobook's like 5 hours long. And I wound up giving this one 4 stars because I really enjoyed it, but I didn't think there was anything super revolutionary in it, although all the tips I think will actually work because, spoiler alert, I'm doing another video where I actually use all the tips in this book to break up with my phone. I'm in the process right now. I'm on day 8, 9, 10, no, day like 11. I'm pretty far. I'm like 2.5 or like a week and a half into it. And it's going pretty well so far, I have to say. So stay tuned for that video soon. Then I read The Measure because I hear a lot about this book. It's like a sci-fi kind of, well, I say sci-fi, it's set in the real world, but it's like, what if every single person on Earth received a string in the mail that is the length of their life? And so basically everyone on Earth now knows how long their life is going to be if they've chosen to look at their string. So you've got some people who have long strings, know they're going to live a long time. You've got what they call short stringers who know they're going to die like relatively early on in their lives. And then you've got people who chose not to look at their strings at all. And then you follow several main characters, but really the book is more just like what would happen in the real world if everyone knew their lifespan. And it's really more about like the logistics and like, oh, hospitals might turn you away if they think that you have a short string, or they might not let you, or they might want you to do like trials of different medicines and things if you have a long string because they know that it's going to work. Or, they're going to send you to the front lines if you have a long string in the military because they know that you're going to survive. Now, that's not to say you couldn't be like horribly injured or something, but they know you're going to make it. So it was really interesting, but the premise got kind of old after a while. It was very political. You could tell it was definitely written after COVID. And I mean, it was fine, but I couldn't really connect to any of the characters. And so that's why originally I thought it was going to be a 4-star, but I wound up lowering it to a 3.5. And the final book I actually read, I have a physical copy of. I didn't read it physically. I pretty much listened to the audio of all of these, I think. Yep. And that's The Blackwoods by Brandy Colbert, because this is a young adult book that I got in a book box subscription. This is actually from the public library though, because I boxed up all of our books here in the library. But I did get this in a junior library guild box a couple months ago, and I remember saying I wanted to read it because it was about Hollywood and it was about the past and the present and this whole like really famous family, which I always like books about celebrities and celebrity families, especially, and family dynamics and things like that. So I wound up giving this book 2 stars. I really should not have finished it. It was not really that good. So why did I only give this book 2 stars? Well, it was boring. It would switch back and forth between the past, like a long time ago with their great grandmother, who was like kind of a big time Hollywood name, and then into the present with these 2 cousins, these 2 girls, and a couple complicated kind of things going on with them. But honestly, every time we'd switch back to one or the other, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, oh, we're getting to the other point of view. Oh wait, yeah, I don't care about this one either. Not very much actually happens in this book. I guess I'm really not into realistic fiction because of that reason. I would say if you want to read a book like this, to read like Malibu Rising, which was kind of about another sort of famous family, but I felt like it was really good and there was a lot going on and there was kind of like a timeline that things were building up to this like big event that you knew was going to happen. And I liked that much better. This one, I just didn't feel like there was any stakes. There really wasn't much conflict. I don't know. I just didn't feel like there was anything to this book. The only thing I kind of liked is that, and the only reason I finished it is because it was more of a palate cleanser for me between like larger like fantasy books. I had just come off of reading The Measure and and fantasy and romance and things like that. And so I just wanted like a very quick, easy read YA realistic fiction. And that's what this was. And that's why I guess I actually finished it. But yeah, I don't think I'd recommend it. At the end here, I'll just mention my 3 DNFs that I had. I DNF'd What the River Knows, which you saw in actually you've seen all these in a vlog that I've done. It was young adult, but it was very boring. It reminded me of Divine Rivals. It was very, very slow paced. It was supposed to be an Egyptian kind of adventure similar to like The Mummy. And we hadn't even got to the adventure part when I stopped at like 30 or 40% in. And I was so bored. And then the next one was The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. I did not even really know what was happening in this book. I don't know if it was supposed to be confusing and I just couldn't figure it out, but I read like half of it and I did not get it. And then I also tried Legacy of Ash by Matthew Ward because it's like epic kind of high fantasy. I really tried to get into the world building. I even made notes. I had a whole page of notes about the characters and the setting and the plot and the conflict, but in the end I just couldn't get attached to any of them. And I was like, you know what, if it takes this much effort to try to get into this book, like I didn't have to do that to get into Game of Thrones. Like I'm comparing all these types of books like this to Game of Thrones and they just can't compare. Those are all the books I've read recently. You can look forward very soon to a kind of more like summer reading book thing I'm gonna do. It's not gonna be a vlog, it's just gonna be kind of a little sit down about some summer books that I've read that I think are gonna be fun because they have like a specific theme to them. So let me know down below if you've read any of these books or if they sound interesting to you. The ones I'd recommend would definitely be Dangerous Collaboration. That whole series, the Veronica Speedwell series, is so good. It's like an 1800s mystery romance kind of thing. It's so fun. And How to Break Up with Your Phone. And then, I mean, you could give Daughter of the Pirate King a try. It's not bad. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you again soon. Bye.